Hi everyone, to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a Greek-style cornbread, perfect for Thanksgiving, which is right around the corner. It's going to be filled with a Spanakopita-style filling, spinach, feta, herbs, lots of feta, and of course that delicious moist cornbread that we all know and love. It's simple to make and everyone is going to love this one. It's a nice twist on a classic. Let's get started. Okay, let's begin by making the Spanakopita style mixture. So I have 6 scallions here that have already been washed and dried really well. I'm just going to thinly slice them and add them to a skillet with about 1/4 cup of olive oil. These are going to cook for about 5 to 6 minutes until they're nice and soft. In the meantime, I'll just finely chop some parsley and get that ready. Once the scallions have been softened, we're going to go in and add 1 pound of baby spinach leaves. You don't have to chop these up. If you want to, you could, but make sure not to add them all in at once. You're going to increase the heat underneath the pan to high, and we're going to add the spinach in a few batches, seasoning each batch with some salt and freshly cracked black pepper. This is going to keep the mixture from becoming very, very watery. Spinach holds a lot of water and it releases lots of it. That's why we're cooking this over a high heat, so most of that liquid that the spinach releases will evaporate, so that way our cornbread won't be soggy. Once the final batch goes in and the spinach wilts down, we're going to take the pot off of the heat, and now we'll just add the parsley to it. I'll also add 1 teaspoon of dried dill. If you have fresh dill, you can add fresh dill to this instead. 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of dried mint. And then you can mix this all together and crumble in some feta. I'm gonna crumble in about 300 grams of really good quality feta cheese. Mix everything all up, and at this point you can taste the mixture to see if it needs some more salt and pepper. It's probably good on the salt because the feta also went in there. It tastes perfect to me, so I'm just gonna leave it as is, but if yours needs a little bit more, you can add it in at this point. Now we're gonna make the cornbread mixture. So we'll combine the dry ingredients in a big bowl. I have 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1½ cups of cornmeal. I'm using yellow cornmeal, but white will work too. 1½ teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Give that a nice whisk so everything is all combined. And then in another bowl, we're gonna combine the wet ingredients. So I have 1 cup of whole milk plain yogurt, 2 whole eggs, and I'll also add 2 to 3 tablespoons of whole milk. Add that in with 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 3 tablespoons of honey. I have a stick of butter, which is 4 ounces or 113 grams that I've melted. You can use unsalted butter for this or salted, it's up to you. Whisk that all together until everything is nice and smooth. And then we're gonna go in and add the dry ingredients, those flour ingredients, a little bit at a time until everything is combined and smooth. Now I'll take that spinach and feta mixture and add it in. I like to use a spatula at this point. Just fold it in there, and once it's combined, we are going to just butter. I'm just going to use the same skillet that I used to make the spinach mixture. It would be wiser to wash it and then use it over, just so that way the cornbread doesn't stick in there. But I'm just going to risk it and butter it really well and hope that the cornbread doesn't stick. It really shouldn't stick. So this is a cast iron pan that I'm using that's coated with enamel. You can use a regular cast iron pan for this, or a 9-inch round or a 10-inch round springform pan. They will both work, or will all work for this recipe. Smooth the top of the cornbread, and then I like to add a little bit more crumbled feta on top. This is gonna bake in a preheated oven. The oven is already preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. This is gonna bake on the center rack for about 35 minutes. It's gonna get beautiful and golden on top, and it should be fully cooked in 35 minutes. Take it out and let it sit at room temperature for about 20-30 minutes, and you can run a knife around the edges to kind of release it from the pan. Cut it into serving sizes, and that's it. It's ready to serve. Oh my goodness, this smells amazing. Let's do the taste test. I can't even take it anymore. So good. It's perfectly cooked. You would think that all of that spinach in there will make it soggy, but it's totally not soggy. It's light, it's fluffy, it's moist, and so delicious. All of that feta adds a salty creaminess to the cornbread. I think you guys are gonna love this one. I did do a zucchini version a few years back, so I'll make sure to post that one down below, or maybe in the cards later on at the end of the video. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. The exact measurements are on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. Let me know what you think if you give it a try. I'd love to know if you did anything different or what you thought of the recipe. I read all of the comments. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, us.